All right, aspirants, listen up. If you're gearing up for your banking exams, there's a brand new, high-priority topic you absolutely have to know inside and out. We're talking about the RBI's 2025 Directions on Nomination. It's a real game changer, and in this explainer, we're going to break it all down for you.
So, let's start with the situation that really hits home. What actually happens to the money in a bank account when someone passes away? For their family, this can go one of two ways. It can be a smooth, straightforward process, or it can turn into a total nightmare of courts, lawyers, and endless paperwork. And it all boils down to one simple thing.
And that's exactly what this is all about. The RBI has stepped in to make sure that settling these claims is faster, easier, and just less painful for families. They've basically given the whole system an overhaul to make it way more customer-friendly. So let's dive into the details.
We've structured this just like your study notes, nice and logical. We'll start with the why, why these new rules were even needed. Then we'll get into the legal stuff, the core rules, your rights, the bank's duties, and then we'll wrap it all up with a super powerful summary to lock it all in for your exam. Okay, first up, the context. Why did the RBI decide to do this now? And here's the big one for your exam. What is the exact date this all comes into effect?
Take a good look at this timeline. The date you need to circle, highlight, and star in your notes is November 1st, 2025. That's the day it all becomes official. This makes the topic incredibly current, which means it's pure gold for potential exam questions.
With any RBI regulation, you've got to know the legal framework. It's non-negotiable. You need to know which laws and rules give it teeth. So let's break down the key documents here. Okay, so there are two key documents you got to have locked in your brain. First, you have the foundation, the big one, the Banking Regulation Act of 1949. And layered right on top of that, you have the brand new Banking Companies Nomination Rules of 2025. Remember those two names? So, the new law gets super specific. It targets these three sections right here. And what this does is it makes the whole thing comprehensive. It covers every single type of nomination a bank offers. For your deposit accounts, for things you keep in safe custody, and of course, for safe deposit lockers.
Now, a classic exam question is to ask you to match the section number with the facility. And under pressure, it's so easy to get these mixed up, right? Well, don't worry, I've got a killer memory hack for you that's going to make it impossible to forget.
Here it is, and it's so simple you'll never forget it. For Section 45ZA, just think A for accounts. For 45ZC, think C for safe custody. And for 45ZE, think of the letter E in lockers. Accounts, custody, lockers. A-C-E. Boom, done. It's that easy.
All right, we've got the theory down, but what does this look like in the real world, in practice? Let's get into the core rules that banks and customers have to follow now. The first thing is, this isn't optional for banks. They must offer this facility. But that last point, circle it, star it, highlight it. This is a classic exam trap. For the purpose of nomination, a sole proprietorship account is treated just like an individual's personal account. Nomination has to be available for it. So this isn't just about what banks have to do. It's also about your rights as a customer. It's about what you're entitled to. Let's flip the script and look at this from the customer's perspective. And here's a huge change. A bank now has to explain this choice to every single new customer. They have to lay out the pros and cons, crystal clear. They need to make sure people understand that having a nominee makes life simple, but skipping it, well, that could create a whole world of legal trouble for their loved ones.
So, here's the bottom line. Nomination is strongly encouraged, but it is not mandatory for the customer. A bank absolutely cannot refuse to open an account just because someone says no thanks to nominating. The bank's job is simply to document that choice, either by getting a written declaration or just making an internal note of it.
Okay, this next section is absolutely vital for your exam prep. This is the nitty-gritty, the operational checklist, the specific step-by-step procedure that banks must now follow, no excuses.
So here's how it works, from start to finish. The customer hands in the form. The bank does its due diligence, verifying everything. Then, and this is key, they have to respond fast. And finally, they update all the official records, like passbooks and statements. It creates a clear, documented paper trail. 3. Burn that number into your memory. 3 working days. That's how long a bank has to get back to you on a nomination request. Not a day more, not 4, not 5, 3. You can bet you'll see this number on your exam.
Okay, so it's all about being crystal clear now.
The RBI requires the exact phrase nomination registered and the nominee's name to be printed right there on passbooks, statements, everything. And beyond that, banks have a new job to actively publicize and explain the benefits of nomination to everybody.
All right, let's pull all of this together into one final high-impact summary. If you only have a minute to revise before your exam, this is the slide you need to master. Think of this as your ultimate cram sheet.
Seriously, I would pause here and take a screenshot or jot this down. These are the absolute must-know facts. Every single one of these points, from the date to the sections to that 3-day timeline, is a potential question. I'm telling you, this is exam gold. And let's wrap this up by coming back to the main idea. At the end of the day, this isn't just about rules and regulations. As the RBI itself says, the whole point of this is to make things easier, to reduce the hardship that families face during a really difficult time.
So, as you finish your prep, here's a final thought to chew on. These new rules really change the game, don't they? It's not just about a bank offering a service anymore. It's about a bank having a real duty of care, a responsibility to guide customers, to protect their family's future. It really speaks to the heart of what a bank's role in our society should be.
All right, that's a wrap. I really hope this deep dive helps you feel confident and ready to absolutely nail this topic in your exam. All the best with your preparation, and we'll see you in the next explainer.